Hello everyone, I'm Lin Jiahao, come from Department of the Philosophy. The first one question is what is the definition of a social harmful negative externality? And please give an example of socially harmful externality. Negative externalities are cost of production or consumption. For example, pollution is a negative externality that results from both producing and consuming certain products. The second question is to use a diagram to show how Pigouvian taxes shift the cost from society to the producers of this socially harmful externality. When you see the diagram, the gap between the social cost curve and the profit cost curve equals the external cost of the society to shift the cost from society to produce. We may do by imposing tax that is called Pigovian tax on produce to achieve the good. Therefore, the external cost third question is to use another diagram to explain why Pigouvian taxes discourage behaviors that create this negative externality. Because negative externality prevents the market economy from reaching equilibrium, when producers do not take on all costs of production, when social optimization can reach, it is suitable to impose a Pigouvian tax to internalize the externalities. Also, if you take a look at this diagram, after imposing the tax on producers, their producing cost will go up. If their producing cost goes up, they will decrease the quantity produced from Q2 to Q1 to Q2. The price will also rise from P1 to P2. Therefore, producers will produce less because of the high cost, and the consumer will pay less because of the high price. Finally, it will decrease the negative externality. And fourth, use another diagram to explain why Pigouvian taxes can also create more efficiency in an economy, especially when the tax covers the cost of the external damage. Before imposing the tax, producer will produce quantity where social value curve intersect the private cost curve, which is at Q1, that the market equilibrium of output after imposing the tax. Producer will change the quantity to Q2, the efficiency of output. Consumer surplus will decrease by the BAGF. Producer surplus will decrease by the AGEG. As a result, BDEF will be the tax revenue from government. However, the triangle ABC is equal to triangle ABD, which is the reduced part owing to the tax. And this area is also the wherefore increased of the tax. Finally, Pigouvian tax can create more efficiency in the economy.
Hello everyone, I'm Lin Chen Hao, major in the Department of International Business. And today I'm responsible for the third part. And the first question is, what are two characteristics required for being a pure public good? And give two examples of the pure public goods. And the two characteristics of a public good are not excludable and not rival in consumption. And for example, sunshine and fresh air are public goods. And the second question is, when goods match only one of two characteristics mentioned above, they are generally called as impure public goods. In fact, there are two types of impure public goods. What do we call them in the lecture respectively? Please define each of them and provide one example for each type. And the impure public goods are common resources, which is not excludable and rival in consumption. For example, fish in the river is a kind of common resources. And another impure public goods is club goods, which is excludable and not rival in consumption. And for example, Wi-Fi is a club goods. The third question is to explain why free rider problem is common with public goods. Since public goods are not excludable, so people have the incentive to be free rider. And the fourth is explain why free rider problem would lead to under provision of a public good or service and thus causes market failure. Since it would prevent private markets from supplying goods, the free rider problem will lead to market failure. And the last one, please provide possible solutions to the free rider problem. To improve free rider problem, we can impose tax on public goods. And this will be the end of my part. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about question 4. There are two different factories. One is located in Gresham and another is located in Durham. The company decided to continue the one in Gresham but close the one in Durham. So what makes the difference? I believe that the decision of continuing the factory in Gresham is a short-run decision. Why I say so? When the price falls, it means that the company can no longer stay at the optimum point where the marginal cost equals to the price equals to average total cost. It means that the price now is definitely below average total cost. In the short run, even your price is below the average total cost, as long as it's above the average variable cost, you can still continue it. That's why I say the decision of continuing the factor and Gresham will be in short run decision. But about the factor in Durham, that is the different case. In the long run, as long as your price is below the average total cost, you should leave. Because the fixed cost can also be zero. It means that everything is changeable. So the only thing you need to consider is average total cost. As what I said, the price now lies between average total cost and average variable cost. But in the long run, it has already below the average total cost. That means the factory in Durham should close. And that is the long run decision. Below are the picture I've drawn. And in the diagram on the left hand side is the short run situation, and on the right hand side is the long run situation. As you can see, the optimum point is the red point, and the price now will lie in the purple portion. In the short run, it can still temporarily continue, but in the long run, it is the price they should exit.
First question, what is the definition of natural monopoly? In a diagram, draw average cost curve, average variable cost curve, and marginal cost curve for a natural monopoly. So the definition of natural monopoly is a single firm can produce the entire market queue at a low cost, then could several firms arise when there are economics of scale over the relevant range of outputs. And this is the diagram. So the second question is, what is an electric company such as high power company of a natural monopoly? So the new entrants will own high capital costs and excessive barrier to entry this competition. And that's why Taiwan Power will be a natural monopoly because the cost is too high. So the third question is, use a diagram including variable cost curve, market demand curve, and marginal revenue curve. So this is the third diagram. And this is marginal cost curve, marginal revenue curve, and average cost curve, and demand curve, and average variety cost curve. And this is when the electricity market in Taiwan becomes perfectly competitive. And this is another diagram. This is the monopoly diagram, and this is the perfect competition diagram. So this is also the marginal curve. This is the marginal revenue curve. This is the marginal cost curve, and this is average cost curve. And this is the demand curve. So the difference is about in the wait, the question is okay, so the electricity price and the equilibrium quantity on monopoly diagram is when marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. So it's this point. So this is the profit maximum output. This is the price when this also on the demand curve, and this is the marginal. This is the quantity, equilibrium quantity. And the perfect competition diagram, the efficient scale is when the marginal cost equals to average cost and also equals to demand curve, because demand curve is perfectly elastic. So this is the quantity of this is the equilibrium quantity.
Hi everyone, so let's talk about question 1. In the first part of question 1, we can see this diagram. This diagram shows why USA become the importer of Chinese product under WTO's free trade agreement. So the diagram here, in the international trade market, the price of USA product is higher than the price of world. So that's why the quantity demand is higher than the quantity supplies in USA. And that's why USA need to import the Chinese product. And in the second part, if President Trump imposed tariff on the Chinese import product, we can see the diagram. With tariff, the price of import product will be higher. Therefore, the import quantity will be lower. And in the third part and the fourth part, we can see the diagram. In the saturation of free trade, the consumer surplus will be A, B, C, D, E. These 5 areas, and the producer surplus will be area E, and the total surplus will be loss 6 area. And now with tariff, the new consumer surplus will be A and B. The producer surplus will be C and E. There will also be tax revenue, is area D. And there will also be deadweight loss. The deadweight loss is area F. So compare the situation of free trade and with tariff. You can see with tariff imposed, the tariff do harm to the market more than the good it make to profit the markets. So we can agree we can agree with those economists that President Trump shouldn't impose tariff on this product.